I wanted to talk to you about something I learned in this book, The Joy of Less. I also want to share with you kind of like all the minimalism resources that I've been utilizing lately. So stick around for that. They'll be in the description below as well. So what I want to talk to you about is this idea of 3 different like realms of storage in your home. And it's a really interesting exercise to go through your home and to think about where you're storing your stuff. Okay, so inner circle stuff is the things you touch daily. If you were going to go to like an Airbnb, you would need to either have these things with you, either provided for you or that you brought with you, right? So for me, it's like, the clothing I'm wearing on a weekly basis, my glasses, the phone, the computer, Divine Intimacy, I read that every day, my journal, and the dog walking stuff, and just kind of think about who you are in this very present moment. Anything that you are using at least once a week, if not daily, would go in this category. And when you look around and think about those things, a lot of times those are the things we leave out because we are using them so frequently, and they don't actually have a home. They just kind of shift around from place to place. And so those are the things that ideally we have a home for, because another tip I learned from this book, The Joy of Less, which I just like love so much, so I bought myself a copy because it's so beautiful. I was like checking it out from the library over and over again. We should leave a room empty, meaning that when we leave a room, we should take everything with us that we brought into the room. So pick up your cup, pick up your book, put the video game controllers away, children, for the last time. Oh my gosh, I need a consequence for that. And do your children leave out video game controllers? Like, put it down below, because it is just like, it takes 2 seconds to put them in the drawer. They have a home. And anyway, so the things that we use every day should have a home. My computer actually has a drawer in the kitchen. I have taken 2 drawers in the kitchen at this current home and made them like office type drawers, and they have been phenomenal. One is like an inbox for papers I'm not ready to like go through at the very like moment, but I just like kind of like where important papers go, and I go through them regularly. And then the other one is like my computer and charger, and they just sit in this drawer, and it's been amazing. It's been amazing. And so just making easy solutions. She says that ideally you shouldn't have to shift things around or bend down or reach up really high to get to these inner circle items. So again, these are probably the things that are out and about. Now, your outer circle items are the things that you're touching more frequently than once a year, but they're not weekly. So she has examples for like wrapping paper, out of season clothing, let's see, like extras. And these are things that you can store up high or store, kind of like stacked on top of each other in a corner of a closet, or, they're in your house, but they're just not as easily accessible, and they're not taking up precious storage space in like the ideal, the ideal zone of your home is like where it's kind of surface level, where you can like walk around, and where the areas where you can touch, shelving that's at your eye level and like hereabouts, that's prime real estate. And so think about what you have in your prime real estate, and is it the things that are in your inner circle? And then deep storage is for things you only use once a year or less. And so she had like seasonal decorations. Most of us keep those in like the attic or basement or garage. She did mention like tax papers, but really like she was like really challenging everyone to not think about like deep storage for paper. Paper needs to be really either something you're working papers. Like right now we're homeschool planning, right? Most of us that are on this channel are homeschoolers, I think. And so like we have papers, some of us, unless we all digitize, but there's papers, there's things to look through and get ready. And so that's kind of a working paper system. But then the other papers, and I can make a whole different video about this, about how I have literally thrown away probably 90% of my paper. And it's been a process. There is a video, I don't know if I took it down or not, but it was like a paper purge video back when I was doing KonMari in like 2018 or something. And now I just like, my friend reminded me that she says, keep nothing. And so I really was like challenged by that. I kept a lot still, like it would be a lot for somebody else, but for me, it's like 90% of my paper's gone. So this whole process has been really interesting, like so stripping. I'm so surprised. I've been doing minimalism since December 24th, 2016. Maybe I think I have a video, I'll put it down below, where I share kind of my story about that, and why that date and everything. But I have really been on a journey towards less for a very long time. And most things in my home, I don't keep for just in case. And yet it still feels like there's so much I could let go of. And so, so that's just a little bit about that process from the book, The Joy of Less. I will link this down below in case you want to get your own copy. This is one of my favorite books I have read on minimalism. And she does have an Instagram and probably YouTube. It's Miss Minimalist, Francine J. I love how it's laid out. I love that the chapters are super short. There's just a lot of really helpful information in here. And then also lately I've been listening to Dana K. White's information again. She has Declutter at the Speed of Life. She also has How to Keep House Without Losing Your Mind. But I've been more focused on the decluttering side of things. So Dana K. White has a nice process that I like. I've been listening to Joshua Becker's book again, The More of Less, just because I love he reads his own stuff, and I have to speed him up a bit. But he's a really great person to kind of remind me of the why. And then, speaking of why, of course, I have been reading Sterling Jaquith's Not of This World, A Catholic Guide to Minimalism. I talked about this book way back in 2018. I first started my channel. I think it was maybe my third or fourth video where I did a book review. And that book has really stuck with me. And the one thing that has really, really stuck with me is this idea that as Catholics, we are called to be able to we're pilgrims, right? This is not our home. And so if God calls us to do something unique and exciting and different for him, then we need to be willing and able to pick up and go. And so if our things are keeping us from saying yes to the Lord, then that's a really interesting exercise to take to prayer and adoration and to really wrestle with. So I always laugh when people say I bought my forever home. I'm like, what are you talking about? Your forever home is in heaven. That's the mansion. There's a mansion in our souls, St. Teresa of Avila, and then there's the mansion that's waiting for us in heaven that God has created for us. And so a forever home is, you gotta be really careful with this idea of thinking that you get to make that decision once and never again, because God is always moving in your lives. He's always moving through. The Holy Spirit is always moving. Then you are not going to be the same person, God willing, that you are now in 5 years. He's going to do all sorts of cool stuff with you because we're always growing every day. And so I really, really believe, like Sterling talks about, that as Catholics, we must be able to say, yes to God, even if that means saying no to our things. And the security or the thought of security that we have through our things. I've been working through parts of Be Healed again, and I can put that review up here. What really stood out to me was this idea that I have these wounds of powerlessness and abandonment from my childhood that were keeping me really locked into sloth and comfort. And then this idea of security and comfort that come from our things and letting go of them and possibly being without, I had to really take that to the Lord, because he doesn't want me to live in that fear of that place of powerlessness and abandonment. He wants me to live in that trust and in the power that is God, and the trust that he's going to provide whatever we need. So that book has been amazing. And I thought I had one more resource. I watched this really sweet video of this lady who was talking about downsizing from a 5,000 square foot home to an 800 square foot home. And I will link it down below. I loved her story so much. And what she really helped me see is that this is a very emotional journey to get rid of things. Unfortunately, it's an emotional journey for most of us because we're attached to our stuff. We make it mean something. And so, and that feels yucky as a Catholic. Ew, I don't want things to mean something. And yet that's just part of the concupiscence of the world. And we live in this world, and our world is so materialistic. And so she was saying, you know, being willing to ride the emotional roller coaster of the day. Some days it's going to be easy to let go. Some days it's going to be like you're grasping it and then you let go and there's this sorrow and then this freedom. The biggest thing I've heard from my children through this process is, wow, I feel so much lighter. Wow, that was easier than I thought. Like, just, it's been really interesting, you guys. My children are 11 and a half and 14 and a half. And Chloe's let go of so much, right? They're both kind of in a transition period. She's going into high school, Neil's going into middle school. We homeschool, but that's where they are if you were to go with the school system. And so they're kind of these big moments, these big milestones that they're both kind of going through as they shed parts of their childhood. And I want to hang on to their stuff. I'm like, you're getting rid of all your Barbies? What? Or like Neil, like he got rid of all his G.I. Joes. I'm like, are you sure? But I have to let that go. That's, if they're okay with it, I need to be okay with it. Like, and we let go of all our picture books. Like, that was interesting, the emotions I had behind that. So anyway, I will link that below, the video where she talks about like the emotional side of things. And if I think of any other kind of gurus or wise people that have helped me right through this process, I will let you know. But it's just, let me know down below, like if you are in the process of moving, if you've moved recently, where you are in relation to your things. Do you notice that you're kind of like holding on to some things for security? I mean, I definitely still to this day am. I have a little box of like sentimental things and I've gone through it, but I'm not quite ready to take the photos and get rid of the things. So, but I will say we have put out, like, I guess what you would call like a blessing table almost every day for the last, we got the house, Ryan chose the house Monday. We applied Monday night of last week. We got the house Tuesday night. And so it's been almost 2 weeks where we have put a blessing table out almost every day with free things. Some of the things were worth hundreds of dollars. Some of the things were worth, $5. And it's just all been free. And we've been donating to our the local church's thrift store almost multiple times a week. And it's just like, even Ryan's let go of things that I didn't think he was going to let go of. And it's just, we're downsizing. It's at the lake. Did I tell you guys this? Like, I'm so excited. You guys know I love paddleboarding. So like, it's at the lake and it's a beautiful house, but it's tinier. It's not tiny. I mean, it's tiny by American standards. It's probably not tiny at all by European standards, but it's just been a process and it's been beautiful and I can't wait to show it. So, okay. But with all that said, you guys, make sure you like this video, subscribe if you are new. I would love to have you here. Remember, I have a community. So if you want to join and have a more intimate relationship and like, come see what we're all chatting about in there, you're welcome to join. And I'm on Instagram, so you can find all the details below. I will link all the books below. And I hope you just have a very blessed day, and I hope this video blessed you. And with that, you guys, Pax Christi. Bye.